Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we want to talk about the nucleus, maybe in a bit more detail. So it's a membrane-bound organelle found within eukaryotic cells. Eukaryotes, like humans, usually have a single nucleus within their cells, but there are a few cell types, such as red blood cells, which have none, and others, like osteoclasts, which can break down bones, which have many nuclei. It contains the genetic material, except for the small amount of mitochondrial DNA and, in plant cells, plasmid DNA. The DNA is organized as multiple long linear molecules in a complex with numerous proteins like histones to form chromosomes. If you want to know more about DNA, there's a separate video about that linked above. Now, so the nucleus is surrounded by the so-called nuclear envelope, separating it from the cytoplasm. We have actually two membranes, the inner and the outer one. The outer one is continuous with the endoplasmic reticulum, and therefore the space between the inner and the outer nuclear membrane links to the lumen of the ER. And like the ER, we have ribosomes attached to the outer membrane. If you want to know more about the ER, a video is linked above. For the inner membrane, we have proteins that are specific to the nucleus and they're found nowhere else. The nuclear envelope is perforated with tiny pores with diameters around 100 nanometers. And the whole membrane is impermeable to large molecules. So the nuclear pores, and here you see the general structure, the schematic structure, are required to regulate the nuclear transport of molecules. So the pores actually cross both nuclear membranes, and therefore we have a channel. And larger molecules must be actively transported by carrier proteins, while there's a free movement of small molecules and ions. This whole movement is known as the nuclear transport. Particularly crucial is the traffic of RNAs and proteins through the nuclear pore, because they play a role in gene expression and thereby for the state of the cell. Another essential component is the so-called nuclear lamia, which is a network of intermediate filaments. So here you see we have the outer membrane, then we have the inner membrane, and the inner membrane is lined by a protein filament meshwork organized in a net-like fashion. And this supports the nuclear envelope and ensures the overall shape but also the structure. It's also thought that it might aid in the organization of the genetic material, which would be, of course, highly relevant. Found within the nucleus are the nucleoli, and those are the sites of rRNA, so ribosomal RNA production. Actually, the nucleoli don't need a separate membrane because they have a different density which separates them from the nucleus. And it's thought that they might be involved in other functions like cell cycle regulation or DNA damage repair, but those functions are the topic of current research. Now, the nucleus has several highly relevant functions because it contains the genetic information. It coordinates activities like cell division and protein synthesis. And apart from these functions, it's also involved in the control over the genetic material, over enzyme synthesis, produces ribosomes, stores DNA, RNA, and ribosomes, and regulates the transcription of mRNA to protein. And just another fact at the end, the evolution of the nucleus is still a topic of debate. There are various models that got proposed, but so far none has been widely accepted. It remains unclear whether the nucleus developed directly from a bacteria or whether there was a symbiosis with bacteria or archaea. And as you might know, the latter is the accepted theory for mitochondria and also chloroplasts. So here further research is required. I hope this gave you a quick overview of this highly relevant organelle. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more biology videos, there's a separate playlist for those videos. So, see you in the next video.